Coming back from a Dharma Punx meditation tonight in Santa Cruz was eye-opening because for the past few months I've been wanting to get myself into Buddhism, and it's been an interest of mine ever since I got into hardcore. And the day and age when I got into hardcore in Syracuse, New York, was a time when a lot of people were practicing Buddhists, and I always thought they were cool. I was like 14 going into a scene where people, in their 20s were trying this thing out, and I wasn't about to leave my Ukrainian Catholic church that my parents went to and that I was an altar boy at to start practicing Buddhism. But I saw some things tonight that led me to believe that Buddhism is the solution to a lot of the problems that I see going on in this world, that I've seen going on in this world, that if you've ever talked to me before, you'd probably realize that I am passionate about solving a lot of these problems. But it starts with me, and tonight's practice was about hindrances. And the person leading tonight's practice, his name was Joe Clements. He's a old vegan straight edge dude. I don't want to say old, and I might not say vegan straight edge in the same way I'd consider other young homies, friends of mine that are, like XVX, all about this. Joe has a family. He's into his 50s. He's a recovering addict. He's got the vegan straight edge tattoos from neck to hands, and it's pretty impressive. But you know what? I don't think he is influential in the straight edge movement as one would think a influential person would have to be. His stances and his lifestyle choices are different than somebody who's like, XXX, I'm 25, I'm in a crew, I have to be violent. I mean, this Buddhism and these hindrances are really trying to counteract the violence and the hatred that's within us. That's why I'm practicing right now. I think it's going to be very healthy for me. I have, passion and anger towards some things, and I think I like to direct them at what's appropriate, but I am battling with hindrances, and everybody is. It's part of all life being suffering, and to achieve liberation and freedom from that suffering and to limit the suffering that we inflict onto others, you have to understand your hindrances and help them no longer be hindrances. So I have this Dharma Punx Buddhism. I don't know if he calls himself a monk. I'm still very fresh to this. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of things wrong, but I want to tell you what's in my mind and why this Buddhism that I know of is what I want to do and what I'm going to continue with. Vegan straight edge dude, tattooed, much like his partner in crime right here, Noah Levine, who wrote Dharma Punx and Against the Stream. And they lead sessions. This one was on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And it was informal. They'd like you to get there on time, but all kinds of different people in the audience. I shouldn't call us an audience, I guess. All kinds of different practitioners. And it's based on work schedules. We are working class people. I don't know if there was anyone rich there. Monetary social class wasn't made apparent necessarily, so I can't judge, but I'm assuming that this was a weapon of the working class to deal with, and this night, hindrances, and follow this eightfold path to achieve nirvana and limit suffering, the kind of thing that we're trying to work our 9-to-5s to earn a dollar to do, limit our own suffering and other people around us. I could keep going off in that tangent. But anyway, I like this because we did it on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. There's no uniform decision to make all meditation practices Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. But this is working around the people who come to practice. Now, the difference between that and Roman Catholicism that I grew up with, Ukrainian Catholicism, one's the Byzantine rite, one's the Roman rite, whatever. We'll use those interchangeably, Roman Catholicism and Ukrainian Catholicism, which I was adamant about and actually tailored my beliefs of vegan, straight edge, anti-war, anti-fascism, animal liberation to those Catholic and Christian beliefs, but we can get to that some other time. Right now, the ideas of Buddhism are what I'm really finding are tied most into my passions and beliefs regarding politics, personal politics, lifestyle choices, animal rights, veganism. So, where do I go? Oh yeah, Sundays, high noon, Catholic Church, in pews, start out with a prayer, recite. After the priest, wear certain clothes, wear a cassock, wear vestments, do communion, present in gold, drink the wine. It's now the body, drink it up. Okay, that was my silly little rhyme about how Catholic masses work. I could tell you every little line. I could probably recite one to you. I've been going to a Catholic mass every Sunday of my life from the years 0 to 19 years old. And some people are going to take this offense, be like, oh, he's renouncing Catholicism. Give me a break. I think if you know anything about me, I don't quite follow the Catholic doctrine. I will tell you parts of what some people believe to be Christianity that I feel strongly about. Let's not talk about God right now, okay? I'm not even talking about Buddha. I'm talking about this group of people that was here practicing in a place where it is on a work night. It is with a person who is not an ordained minister wearing expensive things. He has a tattoo on his arm. That's a XXX vegan straight edge tattoo. And I see that and I recognize it. And that means so much more to me than looking up at a priest who I'm supposed to follow. I might not know their name, but they've been ordained by yada, 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 this and that and the other thing. I felt at home. This is somebody who I would listen to. And the cool thing is, he knows people would listen to him, but he's not there to preach. It's guided meditation practice. Meditation is what is going to bring me to the next part of my life, where I can use the skills that I have to be the person I want to be, who is somebody that wants to turn the place into the world he wants to see. Now I'm rhyming. I know, it's silly. Am I just thinking about teaching rhyme scheme to my English language arts students today? Probably. I always have them in mind. There were 3 teachers in the room tonight. It wasn't a large crowd. I also want to speak about the crowd and the diversity there, or what a lot of people may consider lack of diversity. Now, okay, I'm a white male. I was born that way. I'm going to stay that way. This crowd, in Santa Cruz, okay, they were very white. I realize that. That's why I'm going to say lack of diversity, and I'm going to recognize that. Maybe some people, it was dark in there, they could identify as people of color. Whatever, I noticed an affinity with people, me being a white dude. I felt like there's a lot of white people in there. Let me tell you something, though. My feelings about white people and myself. WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, we are not. And the diversity of the white people in there was amazing. From ability to language, to accent, to ethnicity, to body type, to people speaking in, a French dialect and like a German accent in this, and people deciding to tattoo their bodies, or maybe getting around in a wheelchair or crutches or something like that, maybe limited vision, people sitting and people on seats. I was on a seat. My back does not permit for sitting in an upright meditative position for 30 minutes. I don't know how I'm going to do for these hour-long sessions, but different people. And let me say something about the differences in white people and white communities. I feel like such an asshole being like, oh, white guy, white guy. I don't know. I have to address this thing. These are people who I have affinity with, not because of race, but who I have affinity with because we realize we are part of this race that has been, very, oppressive to, a million other groups. So we've all tried to find a way out of being this standard run-of-the-mill WASP. People identifying as things other than straight. There's the LGBTQIAA spectrum. I'll say I'm on the spectrum. Everybody should say they're on the spectrum. I don't think there's any black, white, gay, straight. I mean, give me a break. Everybody's different. There are people there who've decided to tattoo themselves. People who have different haircuts, different looks, wearing eyeglasses, wearing jeans. I was wearing workout clothes. I was silly. I didn't know what it would take to meditate. I'm like ready to work out here. I'm like, okay, I got my athletic stuff. I got my track pants ready to rock. Heck yeah. People were coming there after work. People were like in pajamas. People had some blankets on. It was a diversity of people who I understood in the question and answer later all had something similar in mind and all wanted to alleviate suffering in the world. And I think if you recognize your whiteness and you do choose to alleviate suffering in the world, you may have, I don't know how politically correct it is to say white guilt, but I feel pretty fucking shitty about a lot of things that white people have done. So I'm going to recognize that. I can't change my color. I'm not saying I would. But the people there in that room tonight, yes, I felt an affinity with because of the reasons that we are challenging our whiteness and looking at, a certain group as the oppressor. That's not why I went tonight. I went and listened to this guy, Joe, speak about things that I feel are going to help me alleviate suffering in this world and bring about liberation. At the very end, he said, let's use this practice from the cushion to the street to help spread kindness. And now I'm not going to diss on other kinds of religions. I'm just going to hold this up right here because I'm getting like, I don't know. You see me? I'm being silly. When I leave a Catholic Mass, I think of, okay, you know, I'm supposed to spread God's word. I'm supposed to have given money to the church. And we did give money at the end of this. There's a meditation center in this area of downtown Santa Cruz. And we offered dana, which is a Buddhist word for, I guess, contribution. That's what I'm understanding. Again, I'm calling this video Billy Goes Buddhist. I hardly understand a thing about what this practice is going to entail, what I'm starting, and if I'm finishing. But here's my understanding. Dana is offered to keep this space alive and available, to offer something to the teachers who are providing this to us, and offer something to the community space. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's much different than having the expected envelope, giving an expected percentage of your paycheck to the church every single week so that the church can be recognized. Another thing comparing Buddhism to this Catholic Church, I think I'm always going to say that I have a heart and a place in my soul for St. John the Baptist Ukrainian Catholic Church with such a title in bold print, underlined, bold, italic, etc. This tonight was called Dharma Punx. I've considered myself a punk ever since I went to my first punk rock show. There's another group there called Fierce Heart. Those names on random nights in a calm meditation center, welcome to everybody, where you aren't expected to offer money, not replying to a priest, wearing vestments, following certain biblical patterns of the Mass. This is what's for me. And gentlemen like Joe and Noah Levine, I want to say one of their best friends, Russ Rankin, who is the singer of a punk band called Good Riddance, who's been out for decades. Joe is also the singer in a band called Fury 66. These guys, much like Ray Capo of Youth of Today, hardcore, straight edge, vegan, from like the late 80s in New York City. Those kind of guys who have practiced this seem to have worked towards eliminating suffering, the kind of suffering that I see in the world through my own practices and interests. Their practice in Buddhism has seemed to do something to alleviate suffering, and that's what I want to do in this world.